Welcome everyone to today's Explainer. We are going to tackle a really fascinating conflict right at the heart of how producers behave, which is something we call the elasticity not nunc supply, or elasticity of supply. Now, common sense tells us that when prices go up, well, producers are going to want to sell as much as humanly possible to maximize their profits, right? But the big question is, can they actually always do that? Spoiler alert here, the real world of manufacturing is literally full of hidden limitations.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the law of supply, move into what elasticity actually is, learn about computing elasticity, cover the types of elasticity, and wrap up with smart decision-making.
All right, Section 1, the law of supply. Let's get our economic foundations sorted out first.
Before we start measuring anything, we really have to recognize that supply isn't just, a static number of boxes sitting collecting dust in a warehouse. Supply is the active willingness combined with the actual physical capability of a business to provide goods to the market at various prices over time. It is a dynamic behavior. You might desperately want to sell 1 million units, but if you don't have the capability to actually produce them, well, that's not your supply.
And this brings us right to the famous law of supply. Assuming all other things are equal, as that price tag rises, producers are highly incentivized to supply more. And why is that? Because the ultimate goal is profit. Pure and simple. Higher prices mean higher potential revenue. So when the market price climbs in Step 1, it immediately triggers Step 2, where the quantity supplied by the producer goes up.
Moving right along to Section 2, what is elasticity? Let's see how we measure that response.
But here is where our nice, neat, foundational theory kind of crashes into messy reality. If a product suddenly becomes just incredibly profitable, why can't producers instantly supply more of it? What is actually stopping a business from magically doubling their output overnight? Well, producers face very real physical, temporal, and technological constraints. And to understand exactly how those constraints play out, we need a way to measure the producer's responsiveness.
Which brings us to Section 3, computing elasticity. Time to look at the math.
We measure this responsiveness using a pretty straightforward formula. The price elasticity of supply, or ES, is simply the percentage change in the quantity supplied divided by the percentage change in price. Basically, we're looking at how a shift in the price causes a proportional reaction in the actual quantity supplied.
Now here's a crucial little detail. Unlike other economic metrics out there, the answer you get here is always positive. Because the law of supply dictates that price and quantity supplied move in the exact same direction, there's absolutely no need to use absolute values in this formula. If price goes up, quantity goes up. If price goes down, quantity goes down. So the coefficient you calculate will always end up as a positive number.
Let's actually ground this theory in some real numbers using the Malasug Company's milk schedule. Imagine the market price for a bottle of their milk suddenly jumps from 10 pesos to 15 pesos. Guys, that is a massive 50% increase in price. You'd think they would absolutely flood the market with milk, right? But look at their quantity supplied. It only bumps up from 200 bottles to 220 bottles. That is a mere 10% increase in supply. So dividing that small change in quantity by the huge change in price gives you an elasticity coefficient well below 1.
Section 4, types of elasticity. Let's categorize what that number actually means. That specific coefficient we just found tells us exactly what kind of situation the producer is dealing with. If your formula results in a number greater than 1, you have an elastic supply. Think of manufactured goods like clothing. If the price of shirts skyrockets, a manufacturer can just run their sewing machines for an extra shift. Boom, more supply. On the flip side, if the number is less than 1, like our milk example, you have an inelastic supply. A perfect example here is a resort. Even if room prices triple overnight, the owner simply cannot build a new swimming pool or a whole new wing of rooms by tomorrow morning. The time required creates a severe bottleneck.
We also have this theoretical middle ground called unitary elasticity. This happens when the coefficient is exactly 1. In this rare scenario, the percentage change in price perfectly matches the supply step for step. So if the price goes up by 15%, the quantity supplied goes up by exactly 15%. While there is rarely a perfect real-world example of this, it serves as a really crucial mathematical balancing point between being elastic and inelastic.
And finally, Section 5, smart decision-making. Let's tie this all together.
Because look, all of this math and theory ultimately serves a highly practical purpose in the real world. A producer's planning process flows from a beginning, middle, and end. Producers absolutely must analyze their specific elasticity right from the start. If they know their product is inelastic, meaning they can't pivot quickly, they have to plan months or even years in advance and anticipate market changes long before they happen. They use these formulas to ensure they make responsible, profitable choices straight through to the end of their business cycle.
I want to leave you with this final thought to really ponder. When every individual producer out there, from the local milk company to the giant clothing manufacturer, uses these exact metrics to make smarter choices, how does that understanding of supply actually help our national progress? Well, when businesses align their capabilities accurately with market prices, avoiding massive shortages or incredibly wasteful surpluses, that collective efficiency ultimately drives the progress and stability of the entire nation. Grasping the elasticity among supply isn't just about a single company's profit, it's about the economic health of the whole country. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.